Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day as we see a few folks coming on here. And we'll say hello this morning. How are ya? There's Brahim, number one on the hit parade this morning. And Andrea, Niagara Falls. I don't know how you guys do it, but you get right up at the top. Janice, how are you? And Brahim says he loves us. Well, we love you too, Brahim. Fran, Orangeville. And let's see. Nick from our staff, good morning. And Suzanne, good morning. Nice to have you on. Donna, Park Hill, good morning to you. And who was that? Georgie? Kevin? Or Sue? That was Sue, I think. Doris? Rosa? Good morning. Sandy, Vancouver, Washington. Yolande? Bonjour. Cheryl? Nice to have you on. Pat, good morning. And Barbara, Kansas. Diane, Thunder Bay, how are you? Rosalinda, Niagara Falls, from the kidneys of Canada. Donna. Rebecca, Calendar. Rainy, yeah. Wendy, good morning. There's Kevin, Oshawa. Donna from Newfoundland. And Nellie, good morning to you. And Jude from Troy, New York. Elaine, good morning. Cindy, Penticton, British Columbia. Annette, how are you? Thea, good morning. And I missed something there. Oh, Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. And that looks like Millicott from Stouffville and someone from Windsor. I missed it. And Kathy, good morning. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Sue, good morning. And Deb from Timmins, good morning. Christina from Azilda. Sue, Bolton. And TR, New Liskeard. Wanda, Virginia. Norma, good morning. We'll say hello to a few more. And you see, if it goes up into the clouds, I can't see it. Irene, how are you? Lori, Cambridge. Bonnie, good morning. Allendale, Minnesota, and up in the clouds, I can't see it. TR is saying she's watching with her mama. Patricia, Sharon, Kansas. Patricia, another Patricia, Georgette, Miramichi. And I went right up in the cloud. Watching from Florida is Patricia. I think we had 3 or 4 in a row there. Gary from Bolton. Springdale, Newfoundland. I didn't see the name. Linda. Uppsala. Rita. Good morning. Phyllis. How are you? Okay, Donna. Guys, good morning. And all those I miss. I hate to miss you, Arlene and Judy. How are you? And Wendy. Couple of things. People, I was doing a little barking on the last couple of programs, coughing, and people were concerned about me. You know what, guys? I appreciate that. I actually feel quite good. Just a lot of mucus, and I must have been fighting something, and I am very thankful. I feel real good. And I took my oil of oregano. And doing everything I can, guys. Stay healthy. But I appreciate your concern for me. We're family, guys. We're family here. And thanks again. We love you dearly. Let me just, today is what? July 24th, right? I just got to tell you this. You know what? Let me tell you a little story. Some of you have heard this before. But today, July 24th, in 1534, something happened. 1534. That has a lot to do with the Martin Clinic. It happened in 1534. Okay? Now, I'm not expecting you guys to know this, but there was a fella. He was an explorer from France. And in 1534, he came down that St. Lawrence River, and his name was Jacques Cartier. Okay? In 1534, he planted a cross in the Gaspé and claimed that territory for the King of France. Okay? I remember that part from my history, but if you would have asked me what year it was, I wouldn't have known unless I looked it up. But in 1534, on July 24th, Jacques Cartier came down. Now, what's that got to do with the Martin Clinic? Well, here's what it's got to do. When Jacques Cartier came down the St. Lawrence, okay, 25 of his men had died at sea from a lack of vitamin C, and they got a condition called scurvy. Okay? Now, the indigenous, the natives, they befriended Jacques Cartier. And he actually wrote about this in his annals. Okay? See the phlegm? I can't get over it. Okay, now, he wrote about this in his annals. And he said, the natives gave him a tea made up of pine bark. And he gave it to him. They gave it to him and all his men. And he wrote in his annals, man, we felt a lot better. And they recovered. They were more energetic. And Jacques Cartier actually wrote this down. Now, years later, in the 1950s, there was a guy from France. His name was Dr. Jacques Mascalier. I actually met him. Okay? He's passed away now. But I met him. And in the 1950s, he was studying at the University in Quebec City. He was studying these annals of Jacques Cartier. He was a biochemist. And he said, what in the world was in that pine bark that not only got rid of scurvy, but made them feel much better? And so he started to explore, really what like Jacques Cartier did. He explored not land, but he went back to France and started doing studies on pine bark extract. Okay? And he found that it was a tremendous antioxidant, a tremendous, well, obviously had some vitamin C in it, but he found it to be 50 times more powerful than vitamin C, pine bark extract. And he developed in the south of France. I was there where they developed this pine bark. I went to where they did the plant where they do this. And pristine part of France. And the trees. And how they reforest them right away. And how that product is made. Now, why am I telling you that? Because of pine bark extract. You know how much I love it. And today, it's his birthday. In 1534, and thus I wanted to tell you that Pine Bark Extracts had a birthday party, and you know me, I've talked about this a long time. If you look over my shoulder, you can see I wrote about it. The bark with the bite, okay? Pine Bark Extract, the bark with the bite. That was one of the first books that I ever wrote. And I've used it tens of thousands of times. Oh, more than that. With tens of thousands of patients. More than that. And I always loved that product. Okay, just thought I would talk about that before we get back to our teaching on our gut brain. Okay, so yesterday we started, and the article, let me just quote it here. Okay, let me just quote it. New article out on fructose too that I want to talk to you about. Let me just get the original article. Here's the original article. The role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease. The role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease. Incredible what we know today compared to, and I told you I was going to show you, okay, because they're talking about the gut-brain connection, and I want to talk to you about insulin and, or why they called in 2005, why they named Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. So you have a couple of pathways. One, through the gut. And I showed you this yesterday, and I don't know if we got to all of it, but I showed you this chart, okay? And so what I was showing you, leaky gut, it starts with leaky gut. That's what dysbiosis is the imbalance in the microbiome in the gut. You end up, really, here's what it is. You end up with more bad guys than good guys. You have two competing armies in your gut. You have good bacteria, they're on your side. They help to break down food, they're part of your immune system, they help stitch up the gut-blood barrier. And fantastic. And I talked to you yesterday about what happens. How do you get leaky gut? The number one cause of leaky gut is antibiotics. Okay? The number one cause. And because antibiotics, they kill your good guys. Yeah, they save your life and they kill the bad guys. But they kill the good guys. And this is why I always tell people, listen, Linda, listen, Larry, please, please, please. If you're going to take an antibiotic, if you're on painkillers, anti-inflammatories like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, even over the counter like Tylenol, Advil, they destroy your good guys. Artificial sugars destroy your good guys. Plastics, air fresheners, hand sanitizers, chemical sprays that, they clean your house and whatever. These are disruptors of the microbiome. Okay? And they cause what we call a dysbiosis. And a dysbiosis compromises the border between your blood and your gut. Okay? It compromises the border between your blood and your gut. And then another thing, what comes in, everybody, by the way, everybody has a little bit of yeast, a little bit of candida. It's normal. You have that in your gut. It's the Trojan horse, though. If it gets into your bloodstream, and if you feed it, you see, this is why I'm so big on avoiding sugar, because don't feed the yeast. Don't feed the bears. You know how I came up with that expression? I don't know. How many years ago? I was famous for it on my radio show. Don't feed the bears. What I meant by that is feeding yeast. The Trojan horse that gets into your bloodstream. It can travel 2 ways, by the way. It can travel through your blood, and it can travel through the vagus nerve, not Las Vegas, your 10th cranial nerve that connects your brain to your gut. You know when you get butterflies? Right? That's your 10th cranial nerve. But that is a passage too, by the way, of yeast that can get up into the blood. Now, what we talked about yesterday, and I just got to repeat it. Not only do you have a gut-blood barrier, you have a blood-brain barrier. Even when I was in school, okay, in the days of Noah, we didn't know much about it, but we knew there was a blood-brain barrier because there were medications that went across the blood-brain barrier. And we studied those. And they didn't even know how the blood-brain barrier works. And they used to say this, by the way, there's never a chance you're going to have bacteria or whatever in the brain. It's pristine up there. And then they found out, no, you got a microbiome there too. You got bacteria there too, and they communicate directly with your gut. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. How amazing that body that we have. Okay? If you don't believe in God, I don't know what to tell you. Like I look at that stuff and I look at the blood-brain barrier and I look at bacteria from your brain talking to your gut. I marvel at that. It's an oh wow for me. Wow. Holy moly. Okay, now. Again, we go back to leaky gut, leaky brain, and it is a big factor, according to research, on Alzheimer's. And I wanted to spell it out because they don't really spell out how it happens in this study. They're just saying that the gut, the role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease, okay? But I wanted to show you in steps how that happens, okay? And yesterday we went through these steps, okay? Can you see that? Pro-inflammatory bacteria, fungus, heavy metals. How do heavy metals get up into the brain? How is that even possible? How can mercury get to the brain? Your body is designed not to allow that to happen. How does lead get to the brain? It needs a carrier. And this is why I said this 40 years ago. Yeast, fungus. It's a carrier. It carries heavy metals. It carries toxins. And if you have a good gut blood barrier, can't even get in. If you have a good blood-brain barrier, it can't get in. Guys, let me just stop for a second because I want to comment on something. Something that I talked about for a long, long time, and that is autism. Okay? Autism. Non-existent when I was in school. Now, maybe there was cases of autism, we just didn't know how to diagnose it. But one thing for sure, guys, we would all agree. There wouldn't be a physician that wouldn't agree with this statement I'm going to make. Autism today went from unheard of, rare, if any at all, to, I hate to use the word epidemic, but we have to. Because it is. Autism today is an epidemic. Why? I'm a why guy. I want to know why. Why? We didn't have it back then. We have it today. Okay? And some have blamed vaccines, and maybe that's a factor. Okay? When in the 1960s or 50s or whatever, they started vaccinating. Yeah, you know, maybe you had a couple of vaccines. Today, you get 70 of them before the age of 2. But I've always said this. I have been consistent in my saying this. Autism is leaky gut, leaky brain. And I believe, and I'm convinced I'm right about this, toxins get into the brain of those babies by yeast, fungus. Leaky gut in mommy, leaky brain in baby. And one of the things, and I've been, again, so consistent on this, the greatest discovery of medicine. I can't think of anything. I know insulin or whatever saved people's life, but has anything saved lives more than antibiotics? Nope. But today, we have a modern day antibiotic side effect. The double-edged sword. It creates more than anything else leaky gut. And, you know, doctors today, they still haven't got the memo. A lot haven't got the memo on really try and cut back on antibiotics. Okay? And people live on those things. And I'm not against them, as you guys know this. If you need an antibiotic, you got a raging infection, then you need an antibiotic. Well, make sure you get one. But please, please, please use a probiotic. Make sure you take a broad spectrum probiotic, replace that bacteria, and you can't overdose on probiotics, okay? You can't. It's impossible. We got trillions and trillions and trillions of bacteria. And remember, when you get on the scale, minus 3 to 5 pounds. Just take it right off the top, because that's bacteria in your body. Okay? You don't have to count it. Doesn't that make you feel better? Okay. So we went through the stages. Okay? So when leaky gut, when it gets into the blood, you got bacteria, fungus, heavy metals being transported. It gets, and then the blood-brain barrier gets affected. Increased permeability. These things are allowed to get into the brain. And then you have the invasion, number 3, into the central nervous system. And number 4, you start getting cognitive impairment. Okay? And that can be said right there for those 4 steps right there, the cognitive impairment, that can be autism. Doesn't have to be Alzheimer's. And another form, okay? And then you get 4 cognitive, and then number 5, you get the neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. You get brain degeneration. Why do we see so much Parkinson's today? So much Alzheimer's. This is one of the ways. And like I said, I will do a teaching on the insulin part and why they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, okay? They're getting away from it, but they shouldn't. And I'll show you that. Okay, I wanted to do that review, and I wanted to tell you the story of Jacques Cartier today. Okay. Okay. Now I got some studies here that are really good. I don't know if I'll do a whole program on this one. Vitamin D deficiency and homocysteine. Now, homocysteine is a blood test that you can get. And I like it. I like the homocysteine test. If you have high homocysteine, you know what? Then you're the twin towers of vitamins. I call them the twin towers, okay, of vitamins. This study is showing that vitamin D deficiency can interfere with the breakdown of homocysteine levels, okay? And homocysteine is a biomarker for over 100 diseases. Now, doctors ordinarily don't look at it too much. It's usually not part of their normal testing, but I like it. I always liked homocysteine as a test because I knew that if someone had high homocysteine, and especially linked to heart disease, okay? I mean, other inflammatory diseases, but especially heart disease. It can tell you years ahead of time that you're on your way there. But you know what it means if you have high homocysteine? You have a problem, low levels of the twin towers of vitamins. Vitamin D and B12. Vitamin D and B12. Okay? So that was a new study that came out that showed vitamin D deficiencies can interfere with the breakdown of homocysteine. Your body knows how to break it down if you have the right levels of B12 and vitamin D. And you know what, folks? 80. What I venture to say 90% of the population are low in those two vitamins. Vitamin D, the sun, and B12. Steak. And how can steak be bad for you if it contains B12? Somebody was asking, I think I just saw it before I came on our private Facebook group. Dr. Martin, what about turkey? What about chicken? Hey, excellent. I like it. But you know how I operate. Good, better, best. What's the best? Is turkey good? You bet your boots it is. It's very good for you. Is chicken good for you? 100%. Okay? So chicken, I put turkey a little bit. I'd say chicken is good. Turkey is better. And steak is the best. B12. Heme iron. All your amino acids. Now, the others are good. Got it? Okay. That's how I operate. So when I say eggs, meat, and cheese, I mean it. You can eat any meat. You love fish? Good for you. Fish is good. Fish is excellent. If you eat some salmon, you're going to get some B12. But I call it steak because I'm big on sun, steak, and steel. Because steak is the best of all meats. Liver's there too, but I don't like liver. Okay? I don't like liver. I don't like the taste of it. I wish I did. But if you eat steak, you eat roast beef, you eat hamburger, and get full fat hamburger. Eat the fat. Okay. Guys, thanks a million. We love you guys. Thanks for caring about me. I care about you. Okay? Hey guys, share this. Leaky gut and Alzheimer's. I've been talking about leaky gut for so long. Wow. Okay, what research? Okay, guys, we love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.